Hello and welcome to the Gameweek 29 edition of the FPL Scope Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Mathias, and with me today I have Kimo. And Kimo, we've just gone through the international break. We're finally getting ready to get back to FPL. And how are you feeling? How do you feel about having a break from FPL? And how do you feel about the rest of the season? Do you want the season to be over? Do you want to just get back and avenge yourself? What's your feeling for now?
Actually, I didn't feel the break because it's Ramadan and so much preparations and so on, and so many TV shows to watch during the month of Ramadan.
Okay.
So for me, and anyone comes from a similar culture, I think they would have enjoyed themselves and didn't really feel that the longing to the FPL. But do I miss football? I do. Do I like international football breaks? No, I don't.
No.
So I'm very happy that FPL is back and we get some Premier League dilemma.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I have a suggestion for a TV show if you haven't seen it already. I'm wearing the t-shirt now, actually. It's The Last of Us, if you can see it.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah,
Have you seen the whole show now?
No, not the whole show. Some episodes, but
Okay.
some of them was a bit slow tempo, so I put it in a pause now. But I think it's a great show. Yeah,
Cool. I'll be looking forward to hear your.
I will watch my
your thoughts.
bench boost TV show in the 34, but we'll come to that later.
Yeah, sure. But anyways, as you can see on the screen here, we were in a prize draw with FPL Mate, one of the top content creators on YouTube. We were in this prize draw just because I told him my gaming plans or my transfer plans going forward in the last few game weeks, and we were in a prize draw with like 100 other people, and we won. We won a 20 pound Amazon gift card. So what do you think would be the best use for us with the 20 pounds we get from this Amazon gift card?
Restart the season.
Restart the season. We can bribe FPL to restart the season.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Just like we will have a meeting, Menu and Kevin. We're gonna split.
Yeah, we need to split the 20 pounds. Yeah. Now I'm thinking, I'm actually, just in terms of podcasts as well, I've been looking into, because my lighting situation isn't the best. I have like a light just going straight at me. And
do that.
The best. So I'm going to go get a ring light probably. And I also want to get a green screen for whenever I do single videos and stuff, because, I feel like it takes too much space. Like I have so much space here. That's just nothing. Yeah. So maybe not for the podcast, but at least for the videos that I do for myself, I'm gonna have a green screen, I think, and have like more space to work with. So I think
the light would be amazing. I think so. It helps.
Yeah. So those are some things that we can use the gift card on, and then I could just I can buy you a beer or something on the pub when we watch football.
Oh no, doesn't matter.
Sure. We split it. We were a team, so. And Kevin is not here.
Kevin gets nothing.
He's not. He didn't even show up, so he doesn't get anything now.
No.
Kevin is. He's both. He has been moving apartments. That's why he wasn't here last week, and he's been going back to Sweden for Easter break. So that's why he's not here with us today. But I might actually go to visit him in Helsingborg as well. You are going on your own trip, so you can tell us more about that as well, Kimo. You won't be here for the next few weeks.
Yeah, I'm going to Egypt, get some good food in Ramadan, meet the friends and the family, and hopefully get some sun. I think I will. But it will be a good time, and I'll be back around 25th of April. So yeah,
that's going to be good for you. And like I said, I might go to Sweden to see Kevin in Helsingborg since he's here now. So in Scandinavia, it's not that far for me to go with the bus or plane.
Not at all.
Huh?
Not at all. It's just next door.
We're actually just now, right before we started this podcast, we were talking about what I'm going to do and stuff. But that's not FPL related. You don't really care about that, you guys listening probably. So let's move on to Kevin's score. We're still going to talk about Kevin, even though he's not here. We're going to talk about his team and what he did. And he made 2 transfers. He did Brennan Johnson to Isak because Brennan Johnson was unsure for the match against Newcastle. He actually ended up playing, but Kevin is not regretting the move of Johnson to Isak because Isak scored twice and was amazing. I had him in my own team. We're not going to talk about my own team in this podcast, but Isak was great, and he looks like a great pick going forward. He also did Salah to Maddison. Maddison finally got a point return. It was only 1 assist, and he got a yellow card as well, so he's up to 8 yellow cards, so you got to be careful of that. But anyways,
Really successful transfers for Kevin, I think so.
Yeah, I think there were 2 really good transfers as well. So the one thing though is the one thing that he missed out on was the captaincy, and that's something we all missed out on for different reasons. Or you had the same reason. You had Kane captain over Saka as well. We'll get to your team pretty soon, but Kevin actually said to me, because it was actually pretty funny, because right after the deadline, I captained Ivan Toney. I ended up going differential and just went for Toney. That failed, but right after the deadline passed, Kevin sent me a message like, "Why didn't you captain Saka?" That was like his question. So I was sure after Kevin sent me that he had captained Saka. So when he started celebrating when Kane scored, I was just like, "This is not good for you. Kane scoring is not good for you." But he was like, "Oh, I wanted to captain Saka, but since everyone went with Kane, I went with Kane as well."
Not everyone, but I mean, like Saka, I didn't think twice of replacing Saka to Kane, but you were so sure in that pod in the last time we spoke.
Yeah, I tried to convince you to. You convinced me to get Isak, but I didn't manage to convince you to not do Kane captain, basically, because I was going to go with Martinelli originally myself, and when he played 120 minutes in the Europa League, I switched, and I still wanted to do like a differential captain, so that's why I went with Toney. But I should have just gone with the Arsenal fixture, because I had so much faith in Arsenal compared to Spurs.
Yeah. I think having no trainer at Crystal Palace was like a I think I should have done that. I knew that it's a derby and so on, but having no coach at this game was really vital, and they were playing with no motivation at all.
Also, just Arsenal being a better team than Spurs as well. I think Arsenal are just more reliable than Spurs. And we'll get to that eventually as well, because that's going to be one of the things, especially for people without a bench boost. Who do you bench out of Saka and Kane? We'll get to that with Kevin's team and future plans. But move on to your squad. Like we said, still the same captaincy. You had Kane over Saka, but you can take me through your team. You can speak for yourself. What was your thought process? How do you feel about your transfers and all that?
I think my transfers were all good. I think I didn't have Chilwell. I think you were mistaken there.
Okay.
No, do I have Chilwell?
I think I have Chilwell. Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, my mind is stuck at the 2 weeks ago when I was thinking to bring Chilwell before the game against Leicester. But I think Maddison, I could have expected more from him. But Kane, 1 goal, no bonus. That's like expected. Joao Felix is the juicy thing at my team, because he finally scored. He got a bonus, and an assist from Tarkowski was wow. I was like, I had a feeling that Tarkowski would do something in this game. And up until the moment that 2-1 to Chelsea, before the Everton scores the equalizer, was Tarkowski had like 8 points was a bonus, and Felix had 9 points was 3 bonus points. But this is life, 1 goal drop you around 5 points or something. So I'm satisfied. I think so. I didn't think about captaining Saka, as I mentioned at all. So I think it's a pre-preparation for the next game week. So everybody's waiting for the double game weeks and so on. So far so good. I had a green arrow. I'm satisfied. Out of the 2 millions, finally. I've been stuck in the 2 million for so long. So it's the first time I go in the 1 million point something since game week 18. So pretty happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, we both have had pretty awful seasons so far. Some of the worst seasons we've had as FPL managers, but I think we're in a pretty good position going forward, and we'll get to that later. But I just want to talk more about one decision that you made, and that was the transfer and then captaincy of Kane. You went Haaland to Kane and then captain Kane.
Yeah.
Of course, this is hindsight. We all know what happened. Saka was amazing. Kane scored, but it wasn't that amazing. And Haaland is someone you want to bring back. So looking back, do you wish to take that transfer back of Haaland to Kane? No? Still? You still feel like it was the right decision?
I had to do that because Haaland was not playing. Kane was playing against Southampton, poor Southampton, so I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And I think Haaland didn't show that much against the top 6 the whole season, so even though Liverpool are shit.
Yeah, that's fair enough. We'll get to future plans as well, because I'm going to ask you later on with what you're going to do with Haaland. But anyways, we have another segment, and that is the manager of the week. We highlight the player that got the most points in our mini league. And once again, we did this segment like 3 or 4 game weeks ago, I think. And True Peter was the number one guy in that game week as well, so he's doing something right. I think he's 130k in the world and was like 31k this game week or this past game week. So he's doing really well. He used his first chip of the second half of the season, and that was the Wildcard chip, and this was his squad. But yeah, just before I ask you about what you think about his squad, just gonna remind you, if you want to be part of the Manager of the Week segment and be the top player in our league, you gotta join our league, and that's what you can do right here. You can see the middle league code over me here. The middle league code is 6IYV7U, and yeah, it would be great for you to join. We're still growing as a community, growing as a league, and it will be fun to see you join the league. Anyways, Kimo, what do you think of this wildcard? It's pretty close to what I had for my weekly wildcard draft last week. There are a couple of differences, but what do you think? What went right? What went wrong for this guy? It's obviously pretty easy with the points, but in general, what do you think about this team?
I think he got so lucky with Ming's 12 points. Nobody saw this coming. It was a very lucky assist, but good choice for the captaincy, and choosing Havertz and Watkins makes more sense for him. It was a bit popular choices. He didn't go with Isak, just as I said and recommended, as you did, and as
should also be noted. I haven't fixed that in the graphic, but Watkins got 7 points, not 2 points. So that's a bit wrong. But
and I think he would regret Ward.
Yeah,
he's been with so many people for the whole season. If I'm wildcarding, I have to do like something. Like a differential, so Ward and Keeper would be something that I would replace. But other than that, the team looks great, I think, so for the double game week.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's kind of unfortunate with Ward because he was dropped, and the news of him being dropped was actually leaked before the game week or before the deadline last week. So he could have, if we had seen the news, he could have had Everson instead for a cheaper price for the first part, and he'd have the starting goalkeeper for Leicester because it seems like with him wildcarding this week, you didn't wildcard even though you have wildcard in hand, but he wildcarded, so it seems like he's going for the bench boost next game week, and that's really unfortunate to have Ward who doesn't play, and I'm in the same situation. So
I think he will replace him. I think so.
Yeah, but it takes a hit for 4 points, so it's just a needless hit. That's so annoying, especially for me that had Sanchez and Ward back in wildcard game week 26. I had to switch out both my goalkeepers for -4, but I think the only other thing that I have to say against this team is Rico Henry. I think it was a bit too late to have Rico Henry. It seems really weird to have him in the squad, so he could. I
told you I never loved the Brentford defenders.
They had one clean sheet in the double game week, but it doesn't look that good going forward. And Henry just seems like someone you can stash on your bench, but then again, you can have someone even cheaper.
He's actually the 5th highest player in the expected goals involvement among the defenders, but really not so appealing for me. So one big chance, fixtures. 6 chances created and 7 goal attempts and so on. So he's really good, but I don't think as a team the most important thing when you select a defender is the clean sheet, and I think so. Yeah,
I think also if he had watched last episode with us too, you could have seen you make a case for Pedro Porro as a defender. You really like Pedro Porro, who scored a goal and got 9 points. That could have been an even bigger haul for this guy, but 79 points.
I saw he was lively against Milan in the Champions League. Man, you watched the game together. He was so amazing. Yeah.
And now Emerson is injured as well, so we'll get to Porro pretty soon as well. But yeah, I think that's the only thing that I have to say against this is the Ward pick and the Henry pick. Other than that, I can't really fault it at all. Ødegaard as well is kind of but you can always sell him next game week. But as I mentioned, Brentford don't have the best fixtures, and we'll get to see that with the fixture ticker. They're pretty far down on the list, and they have some pretty good teams next to them on the table as well. Both Man City and Arsenal don't have the best fixtures going forward. And I should just note as well, before I ask you again for your opinion, but I should also note this takes into account all the game weeks that are listed except for game week 32, because we're going to free hit. Most of us are going to free hit in game week 32. So the game week 32 fixtures are not part of the rankings in this. So that would bump Arsenal up, Brentford up, all those players, or all those teams with easy fixtures in game week 32 would be higher on this list if we counted game week 32. But I think the best strategy is still free hitting game week 32, and I think we're both doing that as well. So first of all, I'm just going to ask you about that. What is your chip strategy right now? And yeah, we'll get to more questions later. What is your chip strategy still? Do you have a clear idea what you want to do?
I have everything in mind. I think free hit 32 Wildcard 33, bench boost 34.
And you still have your triple captain as well.
Last game week. It's my signature, I think so.
Yeah, last game week, not even double game week 27 or 37. I mean, sorry.
If it's appealing, but I just have the thing with triple captain last game week. It just works for me. I think so.
Yeah.
Against everyone, you wish that everybody does use it somewhere when it doesn't repay, and then you use it at the correct game week where it's like a festive game week. So we'll see. I might do it at 37, but it's like 40-60%, something like that.
Yeah, because my only other question as well is bench boost makes sense in game week 34 because you're wildcarding game week 33. But since you have triple captain left and Haaland in game week 34, he's going to have Fulham and Brighton. Both are away though. So is that tempting to you? Or it might not even be that. I'm not sure. But he's going to have two pretty decent fixtures in game week 34. Are you considering that, or are you just set on bench boost?
If I triple captain him at 34, I think I wouldn't have to. There is no point of wildcard at 33 and using it at 34. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess so. But yeah, it will be interesting to see when we get there. But yeah, that's definitely a thought. But on the topic of Man City and Arsenal, they are pretty far down on this list because they don't have a double in game week 29, and they face each other in game week 33 as well. So first, let's go Arsenal as well, or Arsenal at first. What do you think about Arsenal assets? A lot of people have 3 Arsenal players or 2 Arsenal players. In general, what do you think?
I think the most difficult game for them is a West Ham, even though West Ham are in really poor condition. But I think Leeds might be everything. I just have that slight feeling that Leeds would win 2-1.
Okay.
I just have that feeling.
Bold,
I think so.
Bold, yes.
Yeah. Liverpool would be a very, very open game. Arsenal would accelerate and die to win.
It's usually a high-scoring game, yeah?
Yeah. Liverpool would do everything to win. So it will be a very high score. So I don't see this as a bad game week for the ones who are having double Arsenal and so on. And me personally, I am looking at getting rid of Saka, but we'll come to that later. So I think, you never know, Mathias. Arsenal can outscore a double game week there. You've seen it last game weeks and so on. So I don't see it that terrible, but it depends on who are you replacing with for the double game week.
For me, it's kind of difficult because I think the next 3 game weeks, 29, 30, 31, yes, they have one less match than a lot of other teams because they don't have a double in 29, but I think those 3 fixtures aren't that bad for Arsenal. So I think you can definitely keep them, and especially if you don't have a free hit in 32, you definitely keep all of them because they have that easy fixture in game week 32. We'll all get, with a free hit in 32, we'll all get 3 Arsenal players in that home game to Southampton, which is like the standout game week for them. But I think there's a case to be made to keep at least Saka. Saka's in the form of his life. I feel like he's going to be really, really good, and we'll get to see that with your teams as well coming up. But just more, as you can see, the best teams in terms of expected goals and expected goals conceded are at the bottom, and some of the worst teams are at the top. And as you can see, Leicester are actually bottom 3 in both expected goals and expected goals conceded. So they obviously have the best fixtures. As you can see, there's only dark blue, the easiest fixtures for them. So are you worried about their form at all when it comes to Maddison, or are you still keeping faith in Maddison? I think he's someone you want to keep.
I think I'm a bit disappointed in terms of his performance. It's not attackingly, it's not as strong as the last season, and it comes as a package. If the team is doing good, so they will score more goals and so on. So the defensive problems that Leicester has, like, make them score less than that you would expect in those fixtures. So I'm keeping faith. I think they would battle not to be relegated. So this is their chances. I think Rodgers would be preparing them so strongly at this period. Like, okay, we're not gonna get relegated. We have a chance. 2 games at home, Bournemouth and also Villa. Bournemouth are battling the relegation, so it's a very important game for them, and the same as Crystal Palace. I think if you look at the table between the 12th and the last team at the table, it's 4 or 5 points maximum. So you would hope that they would turn the table at this time by winning 2 of the next 3 at least. So, or maybe 3 out of the next 5. So it depends on how Rodgers built the team after the international break. I think so. Maddison being called to England, I think he had man of the match or something like that. Or
5 chances created. He looked really good.
Yeah. So I think he will be coming with high morals, finally having his first game. So yeah, I think I keep faith.
Yeah.
I wouldn't buy more than one player, but yeah, as a Maddison owner, I think I'm very satisfied.
So are there any other teams or players that stand out to you looking at this fixture ticker? Any teams in particular you want to target?
Bournemouth.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's just like a team battling the relegation. If you remember, like 5 or 6 seasons ago, it was Sunderland, and it was like German Defoe from Sunderland. He was scoring all the time because they were battling relegation. So one striker out of Bournemouth might be good. Or I wouldn't say Billing, but I would say Solanke might be something as a differential. But as of now, we're having so many good options in strikers. Tony, Daka, Solanke, Isak, and so on. So it would be difficult, but
Watkins,
I think it might be some
Solanke.
goals in them.
Yeah, Watkins, Solanke, Kane, Felix. You have a lot of different players. So yeah.
Crystal Palace as well.
Yeah, that's the other part. Crystal Palace, they don't have a double game week in 29, but after that, such amazing fixtures. I mentioned in my weekly wildcard draft squad, I mentioned some differentials you can go for, and I think Wilfried Zaha as well. He's being overlooked because they don't have double game week and he's been injured for so long. But looking at those fixtures, it looks really enticing. Yeah,
it's just the team is terrible, but if they manage themselves together, it depends on the new coach and so on. So.
Yeah, they have Roy Hodgson now. He's the new manager. So what do you think of Palace going forward? Do you think they can find their form again? Because they've had such a tough fixtures schedule as well, like the last few games, and they have some of the easiest fixtures left.
With Roy Hodgson, you would expect the beautiful 1-0, Shundash style. I think so. So you never know. Maybe Zaha again is really in good terms with the coach and so on. So will be interesting to see as of Leicester game. So it will tell us a lot before you jump on the Leeds and Southampton and Everton. Yeah. I don't see as Everton, Wolverhampton as a good games for Palace, but just the next 3. So it depends. But if you want a differential, I would go for Zaha. I think so.
Yeah, I think it's something that you can just keep your eye on against Leicester, and then after that you can decide if you want to bring him in, because that's part of my thought process as well, because I have some midfielders. But that's again, we talked about a lot of good midfield or forward options, but there are so many good midfield options as well going forward with the Brighton players. You got Arsenal players potentially. You got the Man United duo, Fernandes and Rashford. Even McTominay scored 4 goals for Scotland.
Yeah.
Who knows if he brings that to Man United? Salah is going to be eventually in the fold as well once they get past
he played really good with Egypt. He scored twice and assisted twice in the last 2 games in the international break, so he's really in a good form.
Yeah,
he's also the highest expected goals involvement in the midfields over the last 4.
Yeah, and we'll get to Salah now in the next little segment, because this is the weekly wildcard draft. I do this every week where I draft what I think is the best squad going forward. And I've seen a lot of other content creators do the same, the wildcard sort of draft for Gameweek 29. And a lot of them do have, on the topic of Salah, they have him in their squad. I don't, because they have, if you look at the fixtures, the next 3 or the next 2 game weeks, they have the toughest fixtures imaginable almost. They have City and Chelsea away in the double, and then they have Arsenal at home in Gameweek 30. But do you think there's still a case for him to be in the squad, or do you think there's someone else you would rather see in the squad, or what do you think about the squad?
I told you I really like this wildcard. It covers everything. It's perfect. I don't think there will be so many managers wildcarding this week, because either you're gonna bench post this game week, or you're gonna delay to the 33 game weeks. But Salah loves to score against Arsenal. He loves to score against Leeds. He loves to score against City. He also loves to score against Chelsea. This is the thing. So,
I mean, he has loved to score against everyone though in the last few seasons.
Yeah, so. but I mean, if you see this as an top 6 attacking open games, so he would do well.
Yeah.
But again, I don't trust Liverpool as a team at all. I think they would do bad in the next game weeks.
Yeah, and especially away as well. They've been so horrible away this whole season. So if they were all home games that they had, home against City, home against Chelsea, and then again home against Arsenal, they do have, but if they're all home games, then sure, that would be a different case. But I think that's sort of why I'm put off by Salah. And at the moment, like you said, Leeds, I think that's a great place to jump on Salah. And that's what I'm also kind of looking for potentially. And that's why you potentially don't have Kane in the squad, which I don't have in this wildcard squad. So that brings us up to that point. Kane was number 3 in last week's or Gameweek 28's weekly wildcard draft. But now he's dropped out completely because Haaland has replaced him. So what do you think of that? Because you recently brought in Kane yourself. Do you think if you were wildcarding this week that you would keep Kane, or would you not have him in your squad at all?
It's so difficult. I think it depends on the injury news about Haaland, but if they were both fit, I think I would go for City. Southampton and Leicester, I think those 2 games are much, much better than playing against Shandash, who's battling relegation. Even though Kane has scored so many goals lately in the last 2 or 3 seasons against Everton. So, yeah, I think I would go for Haaland.
Yeah.
Even though I had Kane myself, but yeah, I think I would go for Haaland if I had to switch it right now.
So you'd leave out Kane entirely, or would you have Haaland and Kane?
Oof, that's tough.
Because a lot of people are looking to sell Tony next in Gameweek 30 for Kane, and then for Haaland, and then have Haaland and Kane.
No, I wouldn't have both Haaland and Kane because there's much better options in the midfield than like the cheaper strikers can do better than Kane and Haaland.
Yeah.
But the cheaper midfields cannot replace the big names that you can have in the midfield. And suddenly De Bruyne can be something, you never know.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have to do a -4 to do KDB. So yeah, I think I would have one of them.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind that Kane hasn't had a double in the next 2.
Okay, but other than that, is there any player you particularly like in this team? Anyone you think should be?
I like Porro. I mean, like what a good option. Yeah, like Chilwell, of course, is amazing. Shaw, I don't see a clean sheet in the next 2. I'm sorry.
Liverpool,
I think United will keep 1 clean sheet out of the next 4 game weeks. I think so. Newcastle always score against, even though before the Saudi money and all this stuff, they always score against Manchester United. Brentford as well will score. One reason I had like a Tony vice captain in a screenshot that I sent you. I think I see Brentford scoring, giving a tough time to Manchester United. I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It also depends though if Tony is playing in that game, because if he gets a yellow card in the first match, he's not going to be playing.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's I see why it's appealing that so many people would love to sell Tony.
Because Tony, I think if there was no threat of him being suspended and stuff, I think he'd be a great option to have this game week. He dropped out of the wildcard draft because he has 9 yellow cards, and also because last match he was really lucky not to get another yellow card. So it doesn't seem like he's taking into account the fact that he's going to get a 2-match suspension before the potential ban for the betting thing as well. So that's why I'm a bit uneasy about Tony, and why I think there's...
He cares more about gambling, not the FPL. So.
Yeah. So I think there's potentially even a case to selling Tony this game week, but I think it's just a bit too risky because he can provide in both those matches. So yeah, but he dropped out of the wildcard squad because, like we said, there are so many good striker options. But you weren't that convinced about Howard's last game week, but now he scored a penalty. So are you convinced, or what do you think about Howard's?
I think he's a main man at Chelsea, not because of the penalties, but he's much better than Joao, and I think the link had started to be more stronger by the time that they've had together. So yeah, I think it's not bad having that you had Isak as well, but comparing Havertz and Watkins, what do you think? I think it's pretty close. I think so.
I think it's pretty close as well, and that's why I have Havertz as the final striker and as the 11th pick, because I felt like Watkins has a strong case to be made as well to be the third striker, and he scored last game week as well, and he's been looking really good lately, and just in general, Aston Villa have been looking really good with under Emery. They've been really good in terms of points, especially against the weaker teams, but I don't know. I just feel like Havertz has a higher ceiling. I feel like Watkins is kind of like the Kane type who just gets like a goal every game and that's it. He doesn't really get like a monster haul usually. So I think that's kind of why I prefer Havertz. And I think Havertz has shown in the past that he has more explosive potentially.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my thinking. But anyways, that's my weekly wildcard draft. If you want to go for the full explanation for every single pick, you can watch my video that I posted on Tuesday. going to do one every week going forward. So it's going to be interesting, especially if we're Gameweek 33 when you're going to Wildcard. It's going to be really interesting to get your thoughts, and you'll be back for that as well. So that's going to be exciting. But let's move on to our future plans. And this is Kevin's future plans. He told me that he's most likely just staying put and not doing any transfers, because it looks like a perfect time to bench boost for Kevin. But the thing with Kevin is he has used his bench boost already this season. So he has a bench.
He kind of regret it right now.
Yeah, I think he's regretting that right now because he has a bench I'm envious of. Like, I wish I had this bench, and I'm going to bench boost most likely. So what do you think about Kevin? He has a lot of money in the bank, 7 million. And he has Saka starting and Kane on the bench currently. It says also Kane and Spurs at home. That's wrong. It's against Everton away. That should also be changed. There's always some errors on this screen. But anyways, he plays Everton away. So what do you think about the benching decisions here for Kevin? Do you think Saka should play over the double game week players in Botman and Henry and also over Kane? Or do you think Saka should be a starter? Or do you think you should sell Saka? What do you think Kevin should do?
I think this is pretty similar to my team. It's almost identical.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, I think I would. It depends on how you read the game against Leeds is going to be. Based on that, then you can decide to sell Saka to Fernandes. Though, if I wouldn't do a transfer, I would play Saka over Botman and Henry and Kane.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna think about it myself. If you go to my team, I think
it's pretty much the same starting 11 except for Joao Felix rather than Isak.
Yeah.
And,
Here you go.
And the bench is very different as well.
I'm not gonna bench boost this, I know for sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that
because you have your bench boost, but you're not going to use it because your bench isn't that good. Because you have Ward, you have single game players, Sarkovsky, and all that stuff.
I didn't wildcard for it. I didn't build my strategy to bench boost at this game week. Otherwise, I would have had much better bench.
But going back,
but I think Kevin will do the move. I haven't talked to him, but I think he will sell Saka to Fernandes.
Yeah, you think so? You think you should do that?
Yeah.
Are you going to do that?
Most likely, I'm gonna think about how do I think Leeds and Arsenal game is going to. Is it gonna be 2-1? Is it gonna be 1-1? Is it gonna be 1-0? Is it gonna be 3-4? 3-2? Based on that, this time I will make my decision because Saka looks on fire. He scored a beauty in the international break. So if I think that Saka will score almost the same or similar to Fernandes, then I wouldn't do that. Though I know that Fernandes has upcoming fixtures. If I think Fernandes will score the same and a little bit higher than Saka, and then he has much better fixtures in the future, then I'll do the move. I have so much money in the bank, so.
Yeah. So as you can see from the weekly wildcard drafts that I did, I have both Fernandes and Saka in my squad.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to try to make a case for both of them now, sort of. So the case for Bruno Fernandes, I had Bruno Fernandes as my second most important player to own, behind only Rashford. I think his underlying stats are amazing. He takes penalties from Man United. They have such great fixtures all the way until the end of the season. I think Fernandes is kind of a no-brainer, so I feel like I would get in Fernandes no matter what into my team.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to do personally as well.
There you go.
But I also really like Saka, and it feels like it's going to be kind of a differential now. He was really amazing last game week, we all know. 18 points, had his biggest haul of all time in FPL, I think. And he continued that with England as well, playing really well for them. He's in the form of his life. Everyone's talking about him as a potential player of the year, player of the season for Premier League. I think he's definitely one of the top candidates for that, even though you have Haaland, of course, and the other Norwegian, Ødegaard. But even though Norway suck as a national team, but that's a completely different story.
but Saka's stats has been terrible in the last 4, like 0.5 expected goals involvement, 0.2 expected goals involvement, goal attempts for really poor compared to anyone else.
I mean, that's the case against him, but Saka always overperforms his XG. Like, he is one of those guys. He can shoot from anywhere and score as well, and he's done that the whole season. Like,
but you have Jeffrey Schlupp has better stats than Fernandes. You know, Sterling, Adama Traore, Fabio Vieira, Damskar, so many players that has Gakpo, Grealish, Xhaka has much better stats than Fernandes. This is the thing, but I agree with you. He's
much better stats than Fernandes or Saka?
Yes, no, than Bruno.
Than Fernandes, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't disagree that he should be in the team. He should be in my team. He should be in so many teams. I don't disagree. But the thing is, you're replacing him to one of the best midfielders in the game, in the Premier League, in the FPL. So this is my dilemma.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying with Saka as well. And also Leeds at home, I think that's an amazing fixture. I mean, Leeds, they won last game against Wolverhampton, but if you look at expected numbers from that game, I know expected goal data isn't the best for one singular game, but Wolverhampton created so many chances and they should have had a penalty. They looked so much better in terms of scoring goals than Leeds. It's just that the fact that they couldn't score goals, but we know Arsenal can score goals. So that's why I'm also sort of hesitant with selling Arsenal players this week. I feel like the fixture that they have is better than a lot of the double game week fixtures the other players have. Yeah. So
I don't see Newcastle United high scoring game. I think so. I see it like 1-1, 2-1, something like that. It's just a Brentford game. Might be a revenge from the 4-0. That's where I would want Fernandes.
Yeah. So I think there are all such great options, and that's the dilemma now with the midfielders. You have so many great options. Your whole midfield looks amazing for this game week. Even though Fernandes, I think, should be there as well. But yeah, you have a lot of things to think about with that. But you're not going to bench boost. I think that's also the right decision because you have the wildcard in game week 33 and the bench boost in 34. Makes a lot of sense as well.
No way I'm bench boosting Tarkowski.
Yeah. I think if your bench was looking like Kevin's, I would have bench boosted now and probably triple captain Haaland in 34. But since you don't have the best bench and you have such a great opportunity to have an amazing bench for 34 when no one else has a good bench.
But what do you think about playing Kane over Felix in my team?
I mean, for me, I think
tough one.
It's one of the strikers. I think is the one I would consider Kane for. But I think Kane away against Everton. I think Everton are better at home than away. I think they're going to be really tight at the back. I don't see that many points for Kane. I feel like the ceiling is much higher for Felix and Tony for that matter. So Kane is the more safe option. But the two strikers that you have starting, I feel like are better in terms of a high ceiling. So I'd probably still bench Kane. I wasn't that high on Kane last game week, and I'm not that high on Kane in general. I think after I did him as number 3 for the weekly wildcard draft last week, right after that episode, I was thinking like, I don't know about Kane going forward. He has the Bruno fixture in game week 31, but I think apart from that, it's not the best for Kane, and Spurs as well. Who knows with them? They just sacked their manager, Conte, and they have Stellini, who did well when Conte was out sick earlier in the season. So I don't think Spurs will suffer from that. I think they might even get a boost from that, but I'm just not sold. I'm just not sold on Spurs, especially for like a singular game week. I don't feel it's essential to have Kane, but I'm the one who sold Kane before his 16-point haul against Palace, so who knows?
That's a hate coming from
Kane made my weekly wildcard draft last week when I did like the 15 most hated players in FPL this season, and that's a reason for that. I'm not a huge fan of Kane in general.
Fair enough.
To be fair, I'm a huge fan of Kane as like a player. I think he's underrated in general. I feel like he's a great striker. It's just that he doesn't get any trophies because he plays for Spurs. But I think he's an amazing player. But as a FPL guy, he's never provided for me, and I'm not a huge fan of him as a guy either. I think he gets away with a lot of stuff. He's a pretty dirty player, but anyways, that's not the topic of this episode. But this is Manager of the Week, True Peter again. We're going to look at his team. It's like I told you earlier, he did the wildcard in game week 29, or game week 28, so it seems like he's going to do the bench boost in game week 30. It seems like, or game week 29, sorry, keep mixing those game weeks up. So with his bench and his potential transfers, would you look into a bench boost with him because he doesn't have a wildcard, unlike you, or do you think he should save the bench boost?
I think I would bench boost. Ødegaard and Saka are really high in stats against Leeds. I'm very pessimistic against this game, and I see Leeds winning for some gut feeling, but having Ødegaard and Saka, I think, would be fine. Mings and Henry, not the best options, but I would do these transfers on the right. I think so. Having McAllister and Iverson or Fernandes would be a better option. I think so.
So that's the question. Do you go for Fernandes
but I wouldn't do
or McAllister?
Too many minuses for Ødegaard. No,
Or would you keep Ødegaard in general? Because I think the goalkeeper move you have to do if you do the bench boost.
Yeah,
sort of.
Iverson is a free transfer. He should do.
Yeah.
To be honest, I wouldn't do any of Ødegaard of Fernandes and McAllister. I think so. I would keep my comments and have Ødegaard.
Keep Ødegaard.
Yeah, I think so. If they win in like 3-1 or something, in most of the prediction sites, they're saying like 3-1, 3-2. I think Ødegaard will be involved. He's the highest XGI in the game, I think.
I mean, you could say that, but again, for Norway, he missed a huge chance against Georgia, and that cost Norway points. And he's been missing a lot of chances lately, and he hasn't been in the best goal scoring form. So I feel like him compared to Saka, I feel much more comfortable selling Ødegaard because his points return haven't been that good lately. So I feel like I would definitely do one of Fernandes or McAllister. It's just a matter of who does he bring in, Fernandes or McAllister. That also affects who he can bring in next week, because I think if he goes for McAllister, he can keep Kane and sell potentially Havertz or Watkins, I think, for Haaland. But he can do the other route as well and potentially get Salah eventually and give me 31 maybe against Leeds. But what do you think? If you say you'd like to keep Ødegaard personally, but if he has to choose between Fernandes or McAllister for Ødegaard, which one of those? You'd still go Fernandes.
I think Mitoma is enough from Brighton, and Fernandes will do well against Brentford. I think so, even though he has low stats recently. But yeah, I think the game was against Brentford will be so many goals. I think I just have the feeling that United will revenge from the
4-0 loss.
4-0, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. That might be the case at home as well.
And Brentford away are very terrible, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true as well. So yeah, those are the plans for him. I think personally, I would do Fernandes. I've just made a case for Fernandes.
You love Fernandes, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Fernandes. I think he's sort of like a must-buy-ish kind of player. Yeah. Even though all the midfields look really good, but I think Fernandes will make it even better. So.
But for me, I really want City to win the league for some reason, because I want Pep to win the 5th Premier League in the last 7 years.
He hasn't won enough. So
selling Saka to Fernandes and watching Arsenal losing would be amazing for me.
That might be the potential bias that makes you think that Leeds can beat Arsenal.
Yeah, but it's not gonna happen.
It might be wishful thinking for you, but
it's gonna be like 4-1, Saka scoring all the goals and me crying in the corner.
I'm the other way. I want City to crash and burn because they've been nothing but pain for me in FPL. So I want them to lose, and I want Arsenal. They have such a good story, but City can win the Champions League instead. That's fine for me.
Yeah, okay, I'll take that. If they win the Champions League, I'll take their loss. But a Champions League can never be guaranteed. It's just like one goal can make you lose everything. Definitely one game, not. Especially with Milan in the Champions League, my team.
Yeah. So yeah, I think in general, I think Fernandes is great to have, and I also like the McAllister move would give you the potential to have Kane going forward as well. But I feel like if you're bench boosting in Gameweek 29, you kind of want to just sell Kane and get some cheap striker as well, because you want to get a cheap bench after you have. That's always been the problem with me for a bench boost. It always costs me a lot of money in terms of the bench, and I just want to get the bench boost over with and then get a super cheap squad in terms of the bench players, so I can have Salah, potentially Trent, potentially Mahrez or Foden eventually as well for City when they have better fixtures. So yeah, I think I'd go with that. Personally, I would go with Iversen forward. I think that makes sense, and I would also go for Fernandes for Ødegaard. But those are just my thoughts. So that's pretty much it for this podcast. And yeah, as always, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. Would be much appreciated. You can comment down below. Comments are always appreciated and responded to. I respond to pretty much every comment I see on the YouTube page. Like the video as well if you want to, and you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And like I said at the start of the show, you can join our mini league as well. 6IYV7U is the league code if you want to be manager of the week, and we can talk about your plans.
Follow us on Twitter. We need followers on Twitter, please.
Follow us on Twitter, yes. We got a little boost from the raffle and being mentioned by FPL Mate. So credits, thanks to FPL Mate as well. And yeah, I'm going to shout out some creators eventually on this thing as well. I think I'm going to do that for next season. I'm going to do like these are the people you should follow in terms of FPL content, but that's for a later date. FPL Mate is one of those guys who I think he has really good graphics and really fun content as well. So
good heart.
Yeah, good shout out to him.
Yeah.
Just give us our money, okay? But anyways, that's it for me. I usually leave the last word for Kevin, but he's not here, so I'm gonna leave the last word for you, Kimo. You're going to go to Egypt, so I wish you well in Egypt and stuff. So yeah, any parting words before you go on a little break from FPL Scope? What do you have to say to end the podcast?
I hope the season will be over soon, and I hope the City will win the league. I hope that I will score as much points as possible, and I think finishing out like between 500,000 would be a dream for me. Like just like a good end for that shitty season. I've never had a season that bad in 17 years playing that game.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what happens. So you need to learn, like a quick call. Yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully we have a good game week after the international. But usually it's a dry after the international game week. But luckily this one was a double game week, so it will be many players will be exhausting, leaky defenders, and so on. So yeah.
Fair enough. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.